Hey guys, so we have some lighter vibes and freshened up energy that is coming through this week. We will have both luminaries, the sun and the moon, in air signs, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. The sun is in Gemini, of course, with Venus and Jupiter, and the moon is going to be transiting through the sign of Aquarius later in the day on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. This should open things up. This is really going to activate the Jupiter, Gemini, Venus, Gemini, sun, and Gemini energy. Could be a very busy start to our week, a lot of places to be, things to do, people to see and talk to, influx of information and ideas coming to us. However, I will say that as the moon enters the sign of Aquarius later in the day on Monday, the moon will form a conjunction to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. This is likely to add a level of depth or intensity or penetration or power to the encounters and the conversations and the maybe introspection or the information, the ideas. We might be uncovering something. There could be some secrets revealed, or there could be some confrontations or debates, arguments that kind of have two opposing forces really coming to a head. So we've got some interesting energy playing out this week. We can definitely say that about it. It should be very mentally stimulating. That being said, let's get into our report of the day. Let's talk about what we do specifically have going on to open our week and what perhaps we can expect as this week's energy unfolds. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, May 27th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. If you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I've done a collective tarot reading for us as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality when I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get a more well-rounded, holistic perspective of what's going on out there in our energy field. So there could be some messages in there for you. We will do that at the end. We are starting with the astrology. And I do think, as I said in my intro, especially now that we have Jupiter in Gemini for the next year, and it's being emphasized actually by the placement of the moon in Aquarius this weekend, I do feel like over this next couple of days, the vibes should lighten. We should feel a sense of this mental stimulation, intrigue, interest, questioning things, maybe some curiosity that we have going on, or just an open-mindedness, inclined towards conversation, thought, discussion generally. We've got a very airy energy playing out. Of course, air energy is all about the mental realms of thoughts and ideas and conversation and information. So now also, as we talked about in the last video with Jupiter and Gemini, that really is where the energetic emphasis is in terms of what we're growing and what we're learning over the course of this next year. We're going through a new lesson plan, okay? Over the course of next year, we're going to be learning something. Your purview of understanding and information in some area of your life is going to grow. Now, with Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, what area of life that is going to depend on where you have Gemini in your birth chart. So whatever house is hosting the sign of Gemini for you in your chart, that is where this expanded energy that is bringing some type of lesson, truth in a way that is growing and expanding is going to play out for you. So check your chart, and that's how you'll know how that's impacting you personally. But for all of us on a collective level, there's going to be an influx of information. We're going to find ourselves very immersed in various forms of information over this next year. There's likely to be, I will say also, a lot of polarities and oppositions and oppositional points of view, conflicting information, conflicting narratives, conflicting arguments and sides of the story that are very prominent and highlighted as we move through this period of time as well. And today specifically on Monday, we may really see kind of the preliminary introduction of that. This is for a couple of reasons. We'll talk about it more as we get through the report, but essentially with the moon coming into a conjunction with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius and then trining the Jupiter energy at 0 degrees of Gemini and Venus and the sun there, this presents an opportunity for sort of those polarized viewpoints of things to kind of encounter each other in a powerful way, maybe based on some emotional issue or urge or some like deep trigger or something that's being activated. And as I said, as we move through this report, we will talk about that some more. And we also have Mars on Monday at a degree that is also quite a confrontational expression of Martian energy. So Monday, honestly, like there could just be kind of like some heated debates or some contention or some conflict, confrontation, things coming to a head, especially based on differing viewpoints, differing perspectives, differing opinions. But there are other ways that this energy, the Plutonic, lunar energy, trining these early degree Jupiter planets, Gemini planets, there's other ways that this energy can manifest as well. And we're also going to talk about that. But regardless, we're in a very like changeable period of time right now. In my last video, I was talking about how we are approaching a period of time that is going to mark, I feel like, a lot of transitions that are taking place. Throughout this past month, the past 2 months, really, April specifically, hosting our big Uranus-Jupiter conjunction in Taurus, and then moving into May, where we also had a lot of Jupiter and Uranus energy going on, Uranus energy specifically. I do feel like some things that maybe were, or like the activations that happened this past couple of months, we may begin to see the progress or the motion or the movement or the transition along those lines taking place now that we are moving into this Gemini energy. That's because the Taurus energy, like this is fixed energy. This is like cemented. This has its heels dug in, and we have such a strong Taurian influence. We had 5 planets in the sign of Taurus, even though we have the Uranian energy there that is kicking up change, that is forcing movement and motion, right? It's like the lightning striking the tower. Like it's going to come down one way or another. There is still a level of resistance perhaps to like actually experiencing the momentum associated with whatever may have like started to happen back when those activations took place. And now that we've got this Gemini energy that we're moving into, and especially that Jupiter is there, Gemini is a mutable sign. This is a transitional energy. This is about change and flow and adaptation and moving from one state to another state and then maybe back again to another state, like things going back and forth. And just it represents differentiation, it represents transition, it represents change, it represents, starting one way and turning into something else. And in the context of what we're coming out of now, that's why I do think, and again, especially with Gemini or Jupiter also now in the sign of Gemini, I think we're about to start seeing the maybe stagnancy or the fixedness or the stubbornness or the hold or like the cemented nature of the things that have been primed for change to now start their actual process of transition and change. And so I do think that, generally this week and the energetic tones coming through this week are indicating that same concept as well. Changeable energy, things in flux. As a result, I also think, Gemini energy, this is busy energy. There's a lot going on. We got to be here and here and here and here, sort of darting all over the place, this fast-paced energy and conversations, interactions, meetings, transactions, just this influx of information. With Jupiter and Gemini, there's no way of avoiding the growth in the informational component of things. Like we're going to be talking more, we're going to be listening more, we're going to be writing more, reading more. Like there's going to be more information that just comes across our purview of experience. It's just how it is when the planet that amplifies experience is in the sign that has to do with the mind, the messenger, right? Communication, information, learning. It also has to do with siblings and short distance travel. You could find yourself engaged in maybe more like back and forths generally, like having to be here, be places like short distance trips more. It could bring up themes having to do with siblings or like neighbors and communities, like the people that like live around us and stuff like that. You could find yourself also just like seeking out information about more subjects generally. This is a curious energy, and it it brings like intrigue and interest in things where it may not, things that you may have not noticed before, or you may not have had any type of desire to find anything out about or learn anything about, especially also with Venus now in the sign of Gemini. This just brings a desire to accumulate various information. So there's that. Now let's specifically talk about how energy is moving as we move through the day on Monday, and then eventually we'll get into the energy of Tuesday. I'll be back for a video on Wednesday, so we're going to stop after Tuesday in this video. But early in the day on Monday, we actually start the day with the moon transiting the later degrees of the sign of Capricorn. So we've got actually quite a bit of earth energy going on to start the day, although the moon in Capricorn is going to be forming a trine to Uranus. We'll be trining Mercury as well. So, this is also indicating a bit of the primed nature of things to shift and change. Of course, whenever we've got an earth sign trine going on, this is things in our reality, things happening around us, like the practical details and ongoings in our lives. So with the trine to Uranus, this is expect the unexpected. This is shocks. This is surprises. This is things not going exactly as planned. So there could be some shifts or some changes to just whatever we've got going on that come into play early in the day as we start on Monday. Again, the earth signs, this could really pertain more to like work or financial situations or plans, projects, but surprises, awakenings, or some type of just like unexpected scenario in those realms could be coming up. That would be something to expect as we begin the week. Now, as we move through the course of the day on Monday, the moon will like leave Capricorn, right, and enter the sign of Aquarius, and enter in this double luminary air energy that I was talking about. And we haven't had this for a while. We haven't had both luminaries and air signs. The sun hasn't been in an air sign since it was in the sign of Aquarius. So it's been a minute since we've had an opportunity where we've had both of our luminaries in alignment with sort of like the mental realms of things. And especially with the fact that Jupiter is right there forming a trine to Pluto, okay, which is going to be enhanced by the moon's presence. The moon is a trigger for like energy to be activated because it's like our emotions and our internal environment, what's going on inside of us. And when the moon comes through and makes a conjunction or a big aspect to a planet, a lot of times it has the tendency of like setting off the energy of that planet to a greater level. So when we've got a moon, Pluto, trine Jupiter, and air signs going on, especially Pluto retrograde, this is definitely going to, I feel, enhance the energetic impact of the Jupiter, Pluto, trine, and air that we already have going on. So this will, as I said, as we move through this next couple of days, the vibe will lighten, but it's like we're jumping right off the deep end first as soon as we get into this double luminary air energy because of the conjunction to Pluto. And I do think Pluto retrograde that this could be people honestly figuring things out, getting caught hiding things. Excessive uncovering truth energy is present with this because Jupiter, this is excessive. This is the light, okay, shining into the darkness. And then with the moon there as well. In Gemini, this is information analysis. This is us being able to like see and think about and analyze and extract or receive information about things to do with the underworld, things to do with the shadows, things to do with what's been hidden, what's been going on under the surface, what's been kind of going on in the darkness, okay? So there's a great likelihood that we could be receiving some information that helps us to figure something out, to find something out, that reveals something to us or the layers of something to us on some level. This could also, though, be kind of like a soul-searching vibe that's coming through where we have the opportunity to both like emotionally connect maybe to our own deeper shadow side issues or our subconscious mind in a way, though, that kind of bridges into our conscious mind, and we can like analyze and receive information about and figure out that which is hidden within our own nature or within the deep recesses of our mind or within like our emotional body that we don't necessarily always have like a clear and direct ability to see and perceive and gain awareness of. That is another way that this energy can manifest. So it could be literally like figuring out things that have been hidden in the shadows, that have been going on behind the scenes, like secrets revealed energy, like getting a piece of information that, you know, helps us to figure things out. Or it could be literally like having an opportunity to analyze like the contents of our own subconscious mind, or for whatever reason being able to have more of a conscious awareness about some of our own deeper issues that maybe we had been unaware of or had gone unnoticed. So there's this ease of flow. Trines facilitate things, and this is a trine aspect. So there's like nothing limiting the ability for these two energies to work together. This like deep introspection, or this like powerful emotional experience that we could be having, and a conscious level of awareness and of questioning and of analyzing our own deeper nature that could be coming up, like light bulb moments, especially again like in the context of things that have been hidden, things that we didn't know were going on, or things that have like a powerful influence over us or within us somehow. So let's talk about, actually, I want to talk about some symbolism that is present on Monday before we proceed with the details of this energy. I think that some of the symbolism coming through is very descriptive in terms of the general nature of the way this energy might feel and be expressing itself in our lives as we enter our week this week. We have the sun on Monday at 7 degrees of Gemini. That Sabian symbol is a well with a bucket and a rope under the shade of majestic trees. This, you know, we're putting the bucket down into the well, pulling things up and seeing what is coming up from the depths, bringing what was down deep under the ground up until the light of day. Very much what this trine is doing. And we're even talking about this water energy. That's the lunar energy associated with the Pluto retrograde conjunction. So we are looking at what is under the surface. We are bringing what's down deep up into the fresh air. And it really is very in alignment with the general vibe to start our week. We also have the position of Mercury right now, who rules all the Gemini planets. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini at 18 degrees of the sign of Taurus. That Sabian symbol is a woman airing an old bag through a sunny window. Same thing. This is shining light, giving, you know, sunshine and fresh air into something that has been stagnant, where there's been maybe a lack of light, that has been maybe like in a dark closet for a long period of time or something, cleaning out, bringing some fresh stimulation, the light, the air, the very same vibes that I feel like are being described with this lunar trine that we have going on to start our week. And let's not forget, you guys, I talked about this in my last video, the position of Jupiter, 0 degrees of Gemini right now. That Sabian symbol is also a glass bottom boat, reveals undersea wonders. So whether we're talking about the well, the deep well under the majestic trees, whether we're talking about the woman airing the old bag through the sunny window, giving it fresh air and sunlight, or whether we're talking about the glass bottom boat revealing the undersea wonders, there is a common thread that is weaving through all of this that is in alignment with the trine between Jupiter and Gemini. That is all the information, and like facilitated though to get to the core, to get to the root of the issue, like to see what has been really going on, like digging down to the origin point of something, figuring out all we can about it. And then what does Pluto do? Pluto regenerates, Pluto transforms, and the sign of Gemini also changes and transitions. So there could be some deep, like powerful transformative insights that we're gaining as a end result of how this is all coming together this week, that does do something to cause a change, a transition, or some movement, some fresh energy coming through somehow as we move through the week. Okay, you know, because of the Pluto element, this is bringing that depth, this is bringing that penetration, the power and intensity that is likely to be incorporated into our meetings, our experiences, our conversations, and the information that we're just interacting with generally as we start our week. Now, another way that this energy can manifest, which I touched on earlier, has to do with the dualistic nature, the conflicting nature of the Gemini energy as well. in the context of this powerful, like, emotional drive that is coming from the Pluto moon trine that we have going on, okay? This, as I said, could also prime the environment for some type of confrontation, powerful debates, like heated encounters, just very intense, like clashing of like wills or oppositional forces that are coming head to head in some type of a way, intense conversations or intense encounters. Though when we're talking about Pluto in combination with these strong Gemini energies playing out, people also airing things out, right? That is another way that this kind of like confrontation, debate, argument energy could manifest itself, is literally we're talking about this air energy, this fresh air energy. Air energy is all about the need to communicate. So people could definitely be like airing out old issues, sort of like dug up from the depths, coming up in this energy as well. So if you find people that are kind of like circling back around to an issue and really needing to put an emphasis on it for some reason, and the way that they're communicating or where their mind is focused is probably a result of the way that these energies are working within them and how they're coming out externally. Polarities, contrast, opposition, trines, again, facilitate things. There is no restraint really on the force that is coming through in the context of what may be at odds or what may be going head to head. Arguments, as I said, debates, like this is very Gemini related language. Devil's advocate, although that generally tends more towards the Libra side of things, we could see some of that coming through as well. Oppositional forces, just both really vying for some type of power or some type of prominence or some type of dominance, okay, as we move through this energy. Now, another dimension of this, which I have not brought up yet, is the position of Mars contributing, I will say, and I do think, to the confrontational nature of the day. Mars, it takes about 2 years for Mars to transit through the zodiac. Mars moves through each degree in about 2 days. So Mars only comes to each degree in the zodiac about every 2 years. And while we have this trine playing out Monday to start our week, we also have Mars at probably, I would say, maybe the most powerful degree for unrestrained confrontation and just like a pure expression of Martian energy that there might be in all of the zodiac. He is, of course, in his sign of Aries right now, and that is very pure and unrefined and unrestrained Martian energy. But he's also at 21 degrees of Aries on Monday, which is the Eris point. It's the point in the sky where the planet Eris is discovered. Eris is associated with the black moon energies. This can also have a lot to do with our shadow side nature and where we are unwilling to comply. It has a lot to do with breaking the chains, freedom for the sake of freedom, and it will be unrestrained. The Sabian symbol for that degree is a boxer entering the ring. And whenever there's Eris point activations going on, especially by the planet Mars, who is the master of that particular type of thing, right? That's his domain. It is just likely to be a more confrontational, contentious, aggressive energy that is not going to stand down, not going to surrender and willing to fight for whatever it is, that position of dominance and power also. So as a result of that, the Pluto trine with the Gemini energy and also Mars at his once in 2 year alignment with the Eris point in his sign, we could perhaps just see people like ready to go. All right, so if you are seeing that today, that is probably something to do with why things could get heated, contentious, confrontational, but it's likely to be over, again, differing viewpoints, perspectives, opinions about stuff. Also, it could be quite financially oriented or have to do with the Taurian themes, because remember, the ruler of all this Gemini energy right now being impacted by the trine is Mercury, who is still currently in the sign of Taurus. So it could have to do with, business situations, partnerships, relationships, money, finances. Taurus themes and Gemini themes are what is likely to be like sparking the spark or like the trigger of whatever confrontations are going on today, the way that this energy is presenting itself. So strong thread and themes of rebellion, wanting to buck the system, restraint, control, restriction, not being in alignment or willing to comply with any of those type of things, and also figuring out the truth and revelations, things being revealed to us, maybe gaining some additional information, changing perspective somehow as a catalyst maybe for what is causing these confrontations as well. But it could also, again, be a confrontation with the self on one level, our own deeper nature. Aries and Mars both have a lot to do with the self, with the ego. So we really could be checking ourselves in this energy, or finding something out about ourselves, figuring out maybe some of our own self-sabotaging patterns, or our own subconscious holdups, or our own unhealed traumas. Mars and Chiron are also in a conjunction in the sky right now, which will come exact on Wednesday. That's going to be one of the main themes of our energy in our report Wednesday as we move through the midpoint of this week. Definitely, you guys, as I said, to start the report, okay, we are in an expanded period of learning as we move throughout the course of this next year, and a lot of the lessons that are coming in right now are going to have to do with our own personal karma and what we need to do to break ourselves out of these karmic loops so that we can recreate ourselves and go in a new direction, which really is the theme of this whole entire year. And we're going to be moving into that energy. We'll be talking more about it as we get into the report on Wednesday. So, Monday, just to kind of recap, all right, Monday things could get a bit intense depending on what you're involved in, depending on what you have going on, or it could just be these powerful internal thoughts or awakenings that are going on that could have some type of, significant or lasting impact somehow. Very strong will, though, and unwillingness to comply, ready to stand up for whatever it is that we think or feel or believe in. I feel coming through on Monday. Moving into Tuesday, though, the moon leaves its conjunction with Pluto. This is going to allow us the opportunity to really feel the lighter nature of this energy that is brought to us by the two air sign trines, and with Venus also being in the sign of Gemini, this is going to open up, this is a more light-hearted energy generally as well, more open-minded energy, just more generally optimistic energy, more open, light-hearted energy. Nothing too intense being indicated in the energy of Tuesday moving into Wednesday, although I will say the Mars-Chiron conjunction that is also coming in, and we've got to give that its dues, give it its credence, okay? But that moon in Aquarius, it will form a square. We do need to keep this in mind on Tuesday. The moon will form a square from Aquarius to Mercury, moving to square with Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Now, this could create some misunderstandings, some miscommunications that perhaps cause a bit of an emotional reaction, maybe cause us to assume something or jump to conclusions, overreact emotionally to something. So you may want to watch that. Tuesday, although it is a much more lively, light-hearted, more harmonious day, this is just a more harmonious energy, less intense, less immersed in the shadows. We can, see the light. We are breathing the fresh air. It's just a generally more harmonious flow that we've got going on in the energy on Tuesday, except for the square between the moon and Mercury, which could be bringing up some miscommunication. So don't jump to conclusions about stuff. Double check things. Don't over emotionally react based on something that you think you heard that may not be totally clear, because that is the one kind of sticky part of the energy on Tuesday. But the air sign trine that we have going on, both luminaries, definitely a more carefree, just fresher energy, especially with Jupiter at 0 degrees of the sign of Gemini. The trickiest part of this energy, I do feel on Tuesday, aside from that square that we have going on that could present the overreactions and the jumping to conclusions and the misunderstandings, is this conjunction that is really close, 1 degree out between Chiron and Mars. And this is going to be an energy, and we will talk about it more as we get into the video of Wednesday, but it's going to activate that lesson plan, as I said just a minute ago, that Jupiter transiting through Gemini is representing. But it will be karmic in nature and will also bring blessings via the wisdom that we've gained through overcoming the challenges that we've persevered through, and the recognition of who we are now and what we're capable of as a result, and the new opportunities that will begin to present themselves to us as we step into a new identity detached from these karmic cycles of the past, which we are healing and overcoming and just no longer being defined by moving forward as we move through this energy now. So themes of wounding and healing could be coming up on Tuesday as well as this conjunction draws near, and the patterns that repeat themselves in association with maybe some past wounds, or like what we can't shake, what we keep noticing, what we keep coming up against. Activating the spiritual warrior, that is also a theme, and we've got Chiron and Mars together, and of course the hero's journey. We'll be talking all about it on Wednesday, but ultimately, you guys, this is a year and this is a lesson plan about personal transmutation, how we alchemize pain into power, victimhood into states of self-mastery, and gain a level of wisdom actually that will free us from the suffering of the past and take us off the path that would recreate that suffering going forward, or that would keep the relationships or the generations that come from us or are around us from having to be like trapped in that same karmic cycle as well. There are soul lessons coming through this week and throughout the course of the rest of this year, really, and we are being pushed to grow, okay, whether we like it or not. This is a time of radical growth. We're going to begin to notice that as this Gemini energy kicks in and things really begin to shift and change. The cosmic lesson plan, that's what it is, and we're here for it. So that's what I have to say, you guys, about the energy as it's coming through to start our week this week. Again, like I said, we will be getting more into this on Wednesday when we talk about Mars and Chiron coming together and all that that could be representing in our own spiritual and hero's journey right now. And, you know, just how it could be impacting people and scenarios in our lives moving through that energy. Let's talk about the tarot now for a minute. You guys, this is a spread right here. I really don't have a whole lot to say about it besides keep going, okay? The way that these cards are presenting, it may feel like, or you may find yourself feeling like right now that like no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work, no matter the effort that you're putting in, like nothing is coming from it. Like no matter how much you water those seeds, like they're just not sprouting, they're just not blooming. This message is really telling us that we just need to keep at it. Patience, persistence, an unshakable motivation in the face of discouragement, not veering from the path that we're on just because we're not maybe seeing the tangible material results in the world around us. This is, I feel like, the guidance that is coming through in this particular message, whoever it's for out there. We have the 10 of Wands in reverse. We have the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. We've got the 5 of Swords in reverse. This is like, and also there's a need for us like not to be too hard on ourselves, not to be kind of like in this state of internalized conflict, not to be like hyper self-critical or self-sabotage the way that in terms of the way that our thoughts are functioning right now as a result maybe of not seeing the result or the harvest or the like outcome of everything that we've been putting our time and our energy and our work and our care and our love and our labor into. We also have the 7 of Pentacles here on the back of the deck. We've got the Chariot. We just need to keep putting one foot in front of the other, moving forward, doing your best, doing the work, doing it because it's making, you know, it's making you a better person. You are gaining from it. You're growing from it. Even if you're not necessarily seeing the physical manifestation in your life of the results that you would expect to see after your efforts that you put in at this point in time, this message is saying like, it is coming. Don't give up. Keep working. Keep building. Again, the 5 of Swords in reverse. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too self-critical. Don't have like this like relentless inner critic because maybe your efforts don't seem to be translating at this point into some type of like 3D demonstration of whatever you've been working on. We have the 7 of Pentacles here. It's coming, okay? We just got to be patient. We need to trust the process. We need to have faith and we need to continue. I mean, with the Chariot on the back of the deck, it couldn't be more clear, you know, it could be discouraging. Like it could be a bit depressing. We could be a bit down on ourselves and feel like nothing's ever going to work. Like we're never going to make it. We're never going to be successful. We're never going to get the payoff from, you know, what we've been putting in. You could have been at it for a long period of time, but we've got the 7 of Pentacles. We've got the Chariot. keep going, be determined, be motivated, move forward, look for the small like growth that has happened, any growth that has happened, even if it's not in terms of like the material world. Try to focus on the ways that you have grown as a result of the process of being involved in whatever it is that you've been working towards. That's what I feel like basically this message is indicating to us. So, you know, the change is going to start happening with all this Gemini energy. Like I said, like the transition, the flow, the movement, the options, the alternatives, the opportunities. Jupiter in Gemini is going to bring opportunities. It's going to bring expansion. It's going to open our mind. It's going to elevate our perspective. And this whole year is going to have like, we're going to have an ability to see the glass as more half full from our like mental perspective, just because Gemini is the sign of the mind, thoughts, ideas, our perspective and how we're thinking about things. And with Jupiter there, that is optimism, that is hope, that is faith, that is belief. Even in the face of seeming non-change, we need to understand that there are things happening under the surface, and it's just a matter of us staying on course, okay? Let's get a Synchronicity card now. And our message of the day says, forgive. Be not afraid for the pestilence that walketh in darkness. Psalms 91. You are in the dark when you indulge in depression, feeling sorry for yourself, anger, or ill will. When you condemn yourself or others, these are pestilences of the darkness. Anger towards others reflects your emotionally charged state. You violate the law of harmony and it will bring you trouble. Forgive yourself and others and hail God in your midst to heal your anger. Pray, thank you, God, for removing my anger. And like I was saying earlier, this is Mars energy, very amplified today, and there's the potential for like heated confrontations with the trine going on with the moon and Pluto retrograde, trining Jupiter in Gemini and Venus in Gemini and the sun in Gemini. There is an amplified likelihood of just people kind of going at it, and anger that is not exactly super containable, okay? So the memo for us today is to practice forgiveness, which also plays into Mars at the Chiron point energy. Whenever I go off on my little tangents about the Chiron energy, it always comes back to this elevated level of forgiveness that is the seed of power that results from the wisdom that we gain through any true hero's journey experience. It all boils down to our ability to forgive and to release, and the power of personal transmutation and alchemization that holds to release us from karmic cycles through, again, like the wisdom that bridges us from states of victimhood into states of self-mastery as a result of the powerful experiences that we go through on any hero's journey, which are going to be highlighted in the energy of this week because of Mars coming into conjunction with Chiron in his ruling sign of Aries, and that is going to activate the spiritual warrior archetype, which I will be back on Wednesday to talk about, you guys. So forgiveness, this is the key, all right? Don't necessarily expect people to be in the most control maybe of their tempers, all right, as we move through the energy, but you will be, and you will be because you have prepared in advance for the energy that we have going on, and I am grateful for your presence here also. So that's my video for today, you guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would be interested in this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I'm very grateful for your presence here. I really appreciate knowing what's going on with you out there. If you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. As I said, I really value your presence here. Thank you guys so much. If you want to know what's on this here whiteboard, I do have a link in my description box below where you can find that in a Facebook group. So you can click the link and it'll take you to the Facebook group where I post all the images of those whiteboards. And come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. We will be getting into this Mars Chiron energy and all else that is going on as we move through our week this week. I will be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you next time, guys. Have a beautiful start to your week. And until then, bye.